Welcome everyone to the ApprovalMax October product update webinar. Our agenda for today is we're going to meet our speakers. We've got some housekeeping. We're also going to do some polls. Of course, we've got the feature demos and we're asking you to ask questions in the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. I'm Dee Johns, Head of Product Marketing at ApprovalMax, and I'm joined today by our product expert, Alex Keselman.
Hi everyone, happy to be here and happy to see all of you, some of you once again from the previous quarter, some of you are new, so hope you'll find some great insights about our new amazing features.
Just before we get started, we have quite a few new people on the call that are thinking about becoming ApprovalMax customers. ApprovalMax is a robust AP and AR automation that puts you in control. Trusted worldwide by businesses, accountants, and bookkeepers to strengthen internal financial controls, all in a single platform. Alex, I think we can get started with our very first feature for tonight, 4.0 in QuickBooks, the review step.
Perfect. Those who've been here last time on our Q2 update webinar, you might have heard about this feature already because it was one of the most anticipated features ever actually within our customer feedback. And what this feature does, it allows you to edit all of your bills or purchase orders or sales invoices, some additional documents on the fly without sending that back into your accounting system or without sending that back maybe into your Dext account. You can make those changes within ApprovalMax itself. So since we received a lot of positive reviews from our customers, the way it's all working, and they found it super helpful, we made a couple of additional changes, and now it's also available for QuickBooks Online. By the way, let me know in the chat section which accounting system you're using. If you're using Xero or if you're using QuickBooks Online, maybe some of you are using NetSuite. That would be amazing to hear. And while we're doing that, let me actually jump straight into the demo and let's see the way it all works in action. I see majority 000, but we also have a couple of people on QBO. Perfect. So for you, it will be especially important to see the way it all works because previously it was only available for Xero. I believe you can see my screen right now, right? Yes, perfect. Okay, so the idea behind review step is not new. We actually had the review step for almost since the beginning of the product itself, starting from 2016, but we've made a major change to that feature, allowing now to have much more flexibility in terms of what you're allowed to change and when will be able to make all of those changes. So the whole process starts within the approval workflows first. Doesn't matter if we're looking at the purchase order workflow or the bill workflow, there are a couple of additional workflows that supports that. Now, this review step is available for all of these different workflows. Previously, it was only available for the bill review workflow, and it was only within the first approval step. But now, let's say we're talking about the purchase order workflow. Within the workflow itself, you will find a plus sign at the very beginning of the process, and within that plus sign, you will find two features. One is an auto approval step, which is quite old feature. We won't be talking about that right now. But the second thing is exactly what we're talking about today during this presentation. It's the review step. So simply enable this review step and add as many reviewers as needed. Reason why you might want to have many reviewers. Let's say if you have an organization with multiple departments or multiple locations, and you would like to make sure that different people will be reviewing all of these documents before they're going into the approval. So then you can decide maybe Alex Keselman, Allison, and Chris will be our reviewers. And then within the reviewer matrix, we can decide based on all of these different columns, what exactly these users are allowed to review. So let's say if someone is raising our purchase order from, let's say from the West Coast, it should be sent to Allison for her review before it goes to approval. If it's coming from the East side, it should be going to Chris. And if it's coming from the South or the North, it should be going to me for my review. So you can apply these different rules for your reviewers. And then once someone will create a document, once they'll submit it for approval, it will first hit your reviewers. So then they can see if everything looks fine to them, if there was any mistake maybe with the tax code. Rather than having this ping pong game between your requester and approvers, you can make all of these changes just by yourself, and it makes it so much easier for you to manage your account. Click on Done, update the workflow, now we're set to go. Exactly the same process happens for our QBO integration. So if I'll change my organization now to one of my QuickBooks Online organizations, and I'll open my approval workflows, again here within the bill workflow or purchase order workflow, I will find there is review step, and the same process applies to my reviewers here in QBO. There's one additional thing here that can make your life much easier. So in order to see what's exactly awaiting your review, rather than you'll be going, trying to figure out these bills on review and trying to find these documents, right on top of the screen, right next to the requires my decision, you will find my review required. It will show you all the documents across the board, especially let's say if you're an accountancy or bookkeeping firm, you're working with many different customers. Some of them might be on Xero, some of them might be on QBO, and you want to see what's exactly awaiting your review. You can just click on my review required. It will show you all the requests that requires your review. So here I have bill from ApprovalMax for bookkeepers. That is one of my QBO organizations. I have purchase order to ABC Furniture for Demo Company UK. This one is for Xero. And I can simply take a look on the request, see if everything looks good to me. And let's say I've noticed a mistake. Maybe the tax code here is wrong. I want to make sure that this one is in no VAT. So I can just simply click on edit. It will take me straight away to the bill creation form. And now I can simply change whatever needed to be changed. Let's say it's going to be no VAT, resubmit it for approval. You can provide a comment in case that's needed. Maybe I've changed a tax code, resubmit. Now it will again go to the review step. So before you will actually submit it to the later stage, you want to make sure that everything is fine. And once everything is fine, you just simply submit it for approval. And at that stage, it will go to the actual approvers. So again, we're talking about the segregation of duties here. We have people who is allowed to create our requests. They might have no idea about the tax codes. They might have no idea about the chart of accounts. They just need to create the bill or the PO that they want to, submit for approval. Then we might have approvers who also might have no idea about the chart of accounts. They just want to see what their employees have raised. They want to make sure that the amounts are correct and the items they want to purchase are correct. But for you as an accountant, you can be right in between of both of these groups of people. You want to make sure that details are correct from an accounting standpoint. So that's how the review step works.
Brilliant. Thanks, Alex. There's actually a question. Is the review step, does that come at an extra cost?
Well, that's a good question. It actually goes within our advanced and premium plans. So if you're already under advanced plan or under premium plan, you will have it straight away. If you're on the standard plan, on the other hand, unfortunately, it won't be available for you. So you will need to upgrade to the next level, to the next plan, both for Xero, both for QuickBooks Online. It is only available within advanced and premium plans.
Brilliant. Thanks, Alex. Moving right along to our next update.
Sure. Let me just open the slideshow. The next update, it's quite a small one, but also a very important one, because sometimes it might be that certain group of people are sitting within ApprovalMax itself, some other group of people might be just sitting in Xero, and they might have some kind of a miscommunication. What comments were made within ApprovalMax, if the good received notes were applied within ApprovalMax, because there is no such thing as good received notes in Xero. If you've made the bill to purchase order matching, again, this information will be only shown to you within ApprovalMax or within the audit reports. And we wanted to change that thing so you, a person who is having access to Xero, will know exactly what has happened back in ApprovalMax. So now we're pushing events from ApprovalMax into Xero, and you can find those events under notes and history. So we're pushing things like approvals, rejections, comments, GRN status, and bill to PO matching. It is support for POs, for bills, invoices, quotes, and credit notes. And in order for us to enable that, we need to go to the settings, and I will show you in a moment the way it all works. We need to enable pushing all of these comments into our Xero account. So again, this one is only available for Xero. It might be something for us to consider in the future for QBO as well, but for now, I will only show you the way it all works for Xero. In your ApprovalMax account, let's say we're talking about pushing comments for purchase orders, maybe GRN status for purchase orders. Simply go to your approval workflows, into the purchase order workflow. It's actually exactly the same for bills or any other workflows. So the underlying principle is exactly the same, but I will show you where you can find that feature. You simply click on this gear icon, which will take you to your settings. And here you'll find a new column called Send ApprovalMax Events to 0. You can select either Do Not Send Events to 0, and that is the default option. So if you're now looking at your ApprovalMax account, this option will be selected as Do Not Send Events to 0. So you can change that. Send only comments or send all the events. Click on Save. And now if I have a purchase order that I would like to maybe to raise, let's actually do that. Let's create a new purchase order. Let's say I'm going to raise a new PO for maybe ABC Furniture with the delivery date at the end of October. And let's purchase maybe some t-shirts for the North region. Submit it for approval. It will now go to the review step. That's fine. We will submit it now for approval once again. So now when it came to the approvers, they might want to communicate between each other. Maybe something was missing. Maybe we forgot about the attachment here. So I would like to make a comment and let's say, Matt, please take a look. Comment will be sent to that person. He might reply back to me. Once everything is fine, let's simply approve this purchase order. So now we're receiving a good received note table here. Let's also update the status to that. Let's say it's gonna be not received. We're still waiting for a delivery. Update the status. Now the status is synced. And since we're automatically syncing all of these events and all of your requests to 0, you will find there is a 0 link. And if we'll take a look on the request now in 0, we'll notice a couple of things here. So here, first of all, Alex Keselman has changed the good received note status to not received with the following comment. So you can see we're still waiting for a delivery. If I'll add another comment right now, it will be also synced with our 0 account. So for both people who are sitting in ApprovalMax and those who are sitting in 0, we are now syncing these events across the board. So you all will be synchronized in what is going on for each and every transaction that you have for bills, purchase orders, and so on and so forth. So that's pushing comments into 0.
Lovely. Thanks, Alex. I see that we've got a couple of questions in the chat, actually, and I'll just ask from Shiloh. Can you work with us through set a decision due date for approvers function on ApprovalMax?
Sure. The way, I believe you're talking about the deadlines, right? So setting the deadline for those who will be making approval decisions. It is, again, across all of our workflows. The way it works, it's very, very simple. Under each and every approval step, you will find this little clock icon, and you can set the deadline either based on submission or maybe based on approvals. In our case, for the first approval step, I would actually consider mainly based on submission. And you can decide either based on days or in hours, how much time you would like to give to your approvers to make these approval decisions. If they're about to miss the deadline, they will receive additional notification from us saying that, hey, you're about to miss the deadline, please go ahead and approve these bills or these purchase orders. If you miss the deadline, you will receive another notification from us showing that, hey, you actually missed the deadline, go ahead and log into your account and make an approval decision. And on top of that, all of these requests that you've missed the deadline for, they will go on top of the list within the Requires My Decision screen. So if I'll open Requires My Decision screen right now, I don't have anything here that it's past due, but if you had something, you will find there's a little red warning showing you that this request have been past due for maybe 2-3 days, and now it go ahead and just approve those. Same goes with the notifications that we're sending to you daily. You will also show these notifications there.
Lovely. Thanks, Alex. Okay, moving right along to our very next update. What have you got on for us?
Perfect. So the next one, it's the reversed version history. One thing that customers loves about ApprovalMax historically was the audit reports and audit trails. So all of us knows how sometimes it might be frustrating to get prepared for audit control, for the audit checks, because you need to gather all the information about what has been done for the past quarter, for the past year. You need to know who made those approvals, why they've made those approvals, if there was any changes, or if the workflow are actually being built according to the policies. So there's lots of things that should be added into one piece at one go. So ApprovalMax was always providing you with all of these different tools to make this process as seamless as possible. And the request version history, it's another tool allowing you to prepare for the audit controls better. What this feature does, when you're making changes to your requests, if it's coming from the requester, or if your reviewer doing that, or if you're doing that on the last stage of approval by using the editing on approval feature, doesn't matter when, we will keep track of all of those changes for each and every request. So you can easily see who made the request and how did it look like at the beginning. If the reviewer made a change, you will see what change that person made. If it's being changed afterwards, you will also see all of those things, so you know what is exactly going on for each and every transaction. It is available for Xero and QBO, and the way it will look like within the product. For each and every transaction that you're seeing here, you will find this little icon, which takes you to the version history. If you click on this one, it shows you the version 1 was when the person created this request for ABC Furniture. Then I have version 2. And also I can see that there is a little comment, I've changed the tax code. So when I've made the change, I provide a comment that I've changed the tax code. It will be shown to you straight away here, and you can see the details about that. So now you can keep control of that process as well. Not only you have the audit trail and audit reports, but also you have this live feed of what is going on. And one great reason why we have that, because even though the audit reports is an essential tool for pretty much any account on there, problem with that if the request was fully approved, there is no changes possible because it's already went into Xero or it went already into QBO. So now even if we've changed something, it won't be reflected in your audit report. We won't be able to regenerate the audit report. But the version history shows you the full history, even if it's been already approved, even if you've added something else on top of that, or maybe you've changed the GRN status, you will find those details within the version history. So that's why it is a very important feature to have.
Thanks, Alex. We've got a couple of questions and our experts are actually answering them in the back end. I saw Lucia is saying in the chat, is there a plan to add, modify AP credit note modules on the standard plan?
You mean the review step for the credit notes? What exactly you would like to have for the standard plan?
Lucia, can you please provide some more information for us so we can answer your question? But the question is, okay, lovely, Lucia is typing. So we'll just wait a moment. But in the background, Alex, there's another question. Having approval conditions in the review step, like there are in the approval step, i.e., only one of 3 employees need to approve rather than all 3. Is that in the review step, Alex?
An approval condition within the review step, unfortunately, it is not there. So you cannot select maybe 1 out of 3 of these reviewers should be reviewing that. But on the other hand, it actually will work in exactly the same way. So even if you have 3 or maybe 5 reviewers and they're all reviewing exactly the same thing, we do not require all 5 of them to click on submit for approval. Any 1 out of 5 who will review and submit it for approval will be just enough.
Oh, lovely.
So that kind of eliminates the need for the approval condition like we have for the approval steps.
Thanks, Alex. Is the request version history available in the standard plan?
If I'm not mistaken, it is not. So actually, a rule of thumb for all of these new features, smaller updates, minor tweaks will be available across the board, but actual new features are always going into the advanced and premium plans. So that would be something to consider.
Lovely, thank you. And we've got our other additional question from Lucina. So the original question is there a plan to add or modify AP credit note modules on the standard plan to have the same flow as for invoices to be sent from DEX for review and approval?
Good question. Unfortunately, probably not, most probably not. So the way it all works with DEX at least, it's going to be just the bill approval side. It might change for our ApprovalMax capture on the other hand. So for now, ApprovalMax capture, as you know, only available for bill approval side, but we are thinking, and we have some internal discussions on doing that for other workflows as well, maybe like sales invoices and maybe credit notes. So if that will be the case sometime in the future, then you will be able to use the ApprovalMax capture for that. But unfortunately, that won't be the case with text integration. And
Thanks,
as you
Alex.
know, just a little note, as you know, ApprovalMax Capture is a separate product. It's an add-on, so you can add that to your standard plan, no problem at all with that. So it should work perfectly fine once it will be available.
Thanks. Thanks, Alex. I see a little Lucina has said, "Oh no," little cry face there. So moving right along for you.
Perfect. So the next thing I would like to talk about, that's a huge one. That's an accrual reports. We actually spoke about it last time, but last time it was under private beta. So you probably couldn't actually give it a try. You could only ask our support team to enable that for your account in order for you to try it out. But now it is available for the general audience and you can already play with the accrual reports. And the reason for these accruals reports, why we've released this new feature, why we released this new product, because there was so many situations when companies were, let's say, raising purchase orders, or they were raising bills, and they were all sitting in the queue waiting to be approved. But now you need to close your books, and you simply have no tools how to put all of these expenses and all of the revenue in your journal into your accounting system. So with the accrual reports, you can easily do that from your ApprovalMax account. You can submit an accrual report in your Xero account, and you can also reverse it whenever it's needed. So it provides you with a full control over that process. The way it works, it's quite simple. There's two steps you need to consider before going to the accrual reports. The first one, since the accrual report is pretty much a journal entry, so the first step for us would be to enable a journal entry workflow. Let's select the Xero integration, approval workflows, and Xero manual journal workflow. So first things first, in order for you to create an accrual report, you have to be a requester within the manual journal workflow. Once it's activated, that's the first step. Second step, within our reports, you will find line item reports. It is a part of any plan. And here you can create your reports. I already created one, bills pending approval, but you can also do that for your purchase orders. Let's say I will select purchase orders. Within the filters, you can select what status you would like to see, maybe everything that is still on approval. Click on next, provide what columns you would like to see in your report. And let's say this one will be POs pending approval. Well, I don't have any purchase orders here, so let's say, oh, actually I do have one, but let's take a look on the bills first. So once we have all of our line items, you will find a new icon here in the settings, which will create an accrual report for you. Provide details like what should be the date. Let's say it will be today, accrual account, and provide narration. So that will be, let's say, a product update webinar test. Once you'll hit create, it will create the journal entry. So that's why it was so important to activate the journal entry workflow first, because it will actually create a draft journal for you right now. And once you'll open this up, it will already apply all of these line items and also accrued expenses. So we can see that all the details are provided. You don't need to do anything manually here. You can maybe just provide some notes to your approvers, or maybe add some additional attachments that you would like to be sent into Xero. But overall, everything is already prepared for you. So now you just need to submit it for approval. Once it's sent for approval, once it is sent for approval, everything else looks quite the same as we already used to with each and every other workflows. It will be going through the approval stages that you've built. And once it gets approved, it will be automatically posted in your Xero file. And you can actually decide where it should be posted. Some companies, they prefer to all of these journal entries to be posted as draft. Some others are okay for it to be posted. You can decide that. Same goes with the reverse process. You can just click on the reverse and it will already provide you with all the necessary information. Just select the date. Let's say it's gonna be tomorrow and submit it for approval once again. You might have noticed that when I was creating these accrual reports and I was creating this journal entry, you have an import file feature. So in case you want to provide maybe an Excel sheet for that and you just create an accrual report out of your Excel sheet, you can easily do that. You can just import these files into ApprovalMax and then submit it for approval. So you have full control over that process as well. So that's accrual reports.
Thank you, Alex. I see that Diane has raised her hand. Please ask any questions that anybody has in the Q&A, and either Alex can answer them live or we have some experts in the back that can answer them live. Alex, I think the next update is bulk actions in Xero. Is that correct?
That is correct. And that is actually a minor update, but it's also quite important. So there are lots of things in the system that, though they might be minor ones, but they're just giving you a bit better user experience in terms of how would you navigate through your documents, how would you, bulk upload them, how would you bulk edit those documents. And the bulk actions just allowing you to make all of these different editing or cloning or removing things for large documents in just one go. So the best, I think, application for the bulk actions would be with our ApprovalMax Capture. Because as you know, ApprovalMax Capture from default, from day one, allows you to extract line items. Imagine if you receive the bill for maybe 100 line items from a new supplier. So we will extract all of that data, but since we don't know yet which account code should be used, or maybe which tracking category should be used, or which tax code should be used, rather than you'll be going line by line, providing which account code should be used for each and every line item, you can just select all, select which account code should be used for all of your line items, and just apply them in bulk. But that's all theory. Let me show you the way it will look like in action. So let's create a new bill. I will just upload that and do the drag and drop. I prepared a new invoice for October example. I have around like 10 line items here. As you can see, let me maybe zoom in a little bit. As you can see, I have just description, I have quantity, I have price, I have amount. So I don't have any account codes, I don't have any tracking categories here. So once I'll confirm the choice, it will extract pretty much all the information except for account code, except for tax rates, except for tracking category. I can, of course, just go line by line and apply these account codes myself, but it will take, I don't know, half a minute for me to do the whole thing. Rather than I'll be doing that and wasting my time of doing that, I can just select all, click on Edit Selected, and provide which account code should be used. Let's say maybe General Expenses. Tax code should be no VAT, and the region should be North. Click on Save. Boom, it is all here for each and every line item. I've spent maybe 3 seconds to do the whole thing, explanation included. So now the only thing I will need to do is to submit it for approval. It is that easy now to edit all of these documents. Same goes in some cases. I've seen this question before about ApprovalMax Capture. Since we do have this line item extraction, some companies for some reason don't want that. So they actually just want one single line item that shows you like the whole thing and the full amount for everything. So then you can just, select everything, remove everything selected, and just provide these details by yourself. So that's another application of this feature. So it's a small one, but just gives you a bit more flexibility in terms of how you can manage your documents.
That was very super fast. It was really easy to do all those bulk actions in super fast time. Alex, we've actually got a question for you about the last section. Will the accrual rule reverse automatically when the bill is approved?
It won't be. So in that case, you will need to do that by yourself. So you can take a look on the reports itself and maybe remove that from the reverse journal that you've created. So yeah, in that case, you'll need to be extra cautious and see what's been already maybe approved during that period of time.
Lovely, thank you. We also have a question. When will Capture be available in South Africa?
It's available everywhere, so it's already available for you
Yes.
guys as well. So it's global and it's working perfectly fine. If you haven't seen that yet in your account, I'm not sure if you're a new business with a new customer of ApprovalMax, or if you've already been working with ApprovalMax for quite some time, you might want to enable all feature trial, and you will have like 100 free usages, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And then you can give it a try. For everyone who is just joining ApprovalMax for the first time and they're starting the free trial, you will have it from day one. You can try it out straight away.
Brilliant. Thank you, Alex. Now we can, there's a few other questions being answered in the background. We can go on to our next topic.
Perfect. So the next one is about ApprovalMax Pay. Sorry for those of you who are not from the UK, because ApprovalMax Pay currently only available for the UK, but it still will be worth listening to what we're having here right now, what updates we've made, because hopefully very soon ApprovalMax Pay will be also available for other markets as well. We're working very hard to provide this product for other markets as well. So there was a couple of updates for this product. As you all know, ApprovalMax Pay is a great way for you to make all of your payments to suppliers faster without leaving ApprovalMax. So you have one single place and source of truth for all of your documents, where you can extract the data of ApprovalMax Capture, where you can approve all of these bills, where you can create a batch and make the actual payment, all in one single system. But there was a couple of things that were missing. And one very important thing is when you have maybe 10, 20, or maybe 100 bills and you need to pay to that same supplier. Previously, the only possible way would be to authorize each and every line item separately. And as you know, each and every transaction costs money. So your bank will charge you a fee, maybe a small one, but when you have 100 bills, this small fee might become quite huge. So what we've done now, we're allowing you to take all of these bills from the same supplier and to merge them into just one single line. So what are the benefits of this update? First of all, you will save a lot of time. You don't need to authorize 10 bills or 100 bills. You just need to authorize it once. But at the same time, you'll also save a lot of money on these transactional fees. The second thing that we have here, and I will talk about it later, would be a ready-to-pay tab. So it's a very minor one, but at the same time, it also gives you additional flexibility and also this better user experience when you just want to see what's been approved already and what's needed to be paid. So let's dive in straight into the demo and let's see how it all works. Let's select our company for payments. So here, let's start with the merging our bills for the same supplier. I will create a new batch. Let's add a bank account. And from my bills, I do have a long list, well actually 5 bills from WWF UK, which I'll just simply select and add them all into one batch. So previously, what's been happening with our ApprovalMax Pay feature and with pretty much any bills, you would need to authorize each and every line separately. What we're allowing you to do now is to click on Merge Identical Supplier Bills into one single transaction. You will need to provide a reference number for the whole batch. Let's say it will be Q3 update. And now with these bills, we're just simply submitting them for approval. So now all of these details now is within one single batch. If everything looks fine to me, I will just simply approve that batch. So now it went to the last stage of the whole process. That's where I'm the person who is allowed to authorize the actual payment. And for me, in order to understand what is exactly awaiting payment, I can just click on Ready to Pay tab here in the main menu. And it shows me all the batch payments that are waiting to be paid. So this last one, that's the one that we have now just created. So I can just click on Pay with ApprovalMax, and all of these 5 bills will be merged into one. So I can see that the amount is 15 pence combined from all of these. Pay 15 pence. So now I can just make one transaction. It will be automatically sent into 0 as the batch. So then I can just reconcile that from my bank feed. So you'll save some money, you'll save some time, and it works as magic. I won't be paying it right now because it's an actual account connected to the real live bank.
Alex, just as you're going through the pay demo, there's a lot of questions in the back end. When will pay be available for QBO?
Good question. Unfortunately, I don't know just yet. So that is something we are exploring internally because payments, it's quite an interesting thing. There is lots of things that we need to consider first. There's, which standard we'll be using because QBO is mainly presented in American and US and Canadian markets, and there is different standards over there. So there's lots of challenges we need to resolve first before it goes live for QBO. So that's why for now it is only 0. The next step for us would be to go with 0 for international markets, and then we'll be looking at the QBO and NetSuite itself. So I cannot give you any ETAs for the moment. Hopefully somewhere closer to the beginning of the next year. But we're having these update webinars every quarter. So whenever we'll have some information about that, we'll be more than happy to present that over to you.
Thanks, Alex. We've got a couple of more questions. We have up to 28 production bank accounts. Can we select relevant bank accounts?
Yes, you can add all of your bank accounts into your ApprovalMax. The only thing here, when you're creating a batch, you need to select one bank. So you cannot pay from different banks for the same batch. Well, I guess that makes perfect sense because, well, if it's a batch, you're probably just making one transaction and you cannot split it between different banks. So during the batch creation process, you select one out of 28 and you make the transaction. So you can have all of these banks in one account.
Thanks, Alex. We've got a capture question. Will bill capture match with purchase orders as it currently does through Xero?
If the bill to PO matching will work, maybe if you can elaborate a bit more on this question. So you can definitely do the bill to PO matching. It doesn't matter where this bill is coming from, if it's coming from Xero, if it's coming from Dex, if it's coming from the ApprovalMax capture. The process afterwards remains the same. So you will receive your bills, you will find there's a match with PO function. Once you click on that, it'll show you the list of all the purchase orders and you will be able to match that against all of these POs. So maybe I'm missing
Thank you.
something from the question. Just let me know if there's any additional conditions I need to be aware of.
Lovely. Thank you, Carol. Please let us know and we can revert back to Alex. We have an, excuse me, another question from Lily. We use HubDoc to read invoices, send to Xero, then to ApprovalMax. Would it be good to use ApprovalMax to read the invoices and perform the approvals? Is that something that ApprovalMax can soon offer? And I think we're talking about ApprovalMax capture there. Is that correct, Alex?
I'm trying to figure out, like, right now you have a HubDoc which is sending into Xero, but what is the question actually?
So we use HubDoc to read invoices,
Okay.
send them to Xero, then to ApprovalMax. Would it be good to use ApprovalMax to read the invoices and perform the approvals? Is that something ApprovalMax can offer?
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So we're pretty much just replacing HubDoc with ApprovalMax Capture, and you will have these line item extractions. You have single place for all of your approvals for your OCR part of the things. So you can easily replace HubDoc with ApprovalMax Capture. I would actually highly encourage you to give it a try and see which one will be more accurate, which one will be faster, and which one will be more user-friendly. I'm almost certain you will enjoy ApprovalMax Capture in that sense.
it's very fast. I've tried it myself. It's a great little product. Alex, I think that we have a poll coming up next. Is that correct?
That is correct. Let me change the slide, and the poll that we want
Thanks.
to ask you actually is, like, speaking of HubDoc and other platforms, what OCR tool you're using currently. We would love to know. And
Let's see.
one thing actually why we wanted to run this poll, because when we're asking about ApprovalMax Capture and why would some customers will be leaning more towards, let's say, Dex or to HubDoc, because they had a couple of additional options how you can extract the data from your invoices. And we wanted to change that. We wanted to give you even more options, because last time we spoke about ApprovalMax Capture, we had two options. One is to simply drag and drop your invoices into ApprovalMax itself. The other option, and at the moment it actually was under beta, is to create an email address, an email inbox, and then submit all of your bills via email. Now we're adding a new way how you can extract your data, and that will be via our mobile app. So right now it's under beta, so in case you want to give it a try, you will need to ask our support team to enable that for you, but very, very soon it will be available for everyone, and you will just need to update your mobile app, and you will be able to extract the data from your invoices just by snapping a photo. But today I will show you actually the way it will look like. So let me stop sharing this screen, and I will share my mobile screen. Okay. Just a moment. You should be able, no, not yet. All right, now you should be able to see my mobile screen, right?
Yes, we can. Thanks, Alex.
Perfect. So let's open our app. And I've actually have an invoice here, which I would like to give it a try with. So for us to, in order to extract the data from an invoice, and we would like to snap a photo, just click on the plus sign, select which company you'd like to work with. In our case, it's going to be Bill Company UK. And there is one little update here. It will be right on the top right of your screen. If you click on these three dots, no, not stop mirroring. Here you'll find Create via ApprovalMax Capture. So it will show you the screen. And by the way, hi everyone. And now you can select the document that you would like to extract the data from. Snap a photo. Well, this one is quite bad, but I hope it will work perfectly fine. Let's try it out. And within a couple of seconds, it should take information about, well, all of those line items and due dates and who is our contact. Let's see if it will process that successfully. Okay, so as we can see, the contact is correct. Travelodge, Manchester, Piccadilly. I just came back from Accountex Manchester, so that's an actual invoice. Let's just select the due date 31st of October. If we'll take a look on the line items, we can see that the description is correct, accommodation. We even have the account code here. All other line items are also correct, and we have our original invoice. So now we can just simply submit it for approval. Since now it's that easy to submit all of your bills that needed to be approved, you can just use our mobile app for that. And that's how ApprovalMax Capture for mobile app works. Let me stop sharing this mobile screen, and I'll come
Thanks,
back to you.
Alex. How easy was that? And you know, it wasn't even a very good image that you
It was
snapped.
under
And
angle, but it's still.
yes.
We actually had a story recently when we've been to Suit World in Las Vegas. We had a networking party and we started talking with some of the guys. They were asking why none of the OCR providers are working with the Chinese symbols. And I was actually very surprised because OCR is an open technology and pretty much anyone can use that. And it's caught my attention, it caught my curiosity. So I've made a test. And ApprovalMax Capture actually works perfectly fine with Chinese symbols, so you can extract the data from your Chinese invoices. Same goes with French or any other language, to be honest.
And in fact, it supports 40 plus languages, doesn't it, Alex?
Correct.
Lovely, thank you. Just now we have another poll. Actually, I just saw a question come in from Adele. Can suppliers send invoices directly to ApprovalMax Capture, i.e., is there an email that we can share with them?
Yeah, that's a great question. Let me actually show you how this feature works, because we spoke about it last time quite briefly. It was under beta right now, at the moment, but now it is available for the general audience, so you can already start using email to capture function. So let's say it's going to be for the demo company UK. Again, approval workflows, bill workflow. So here within these different options, how you can create or streamline your bills into the system, all the way to the bottom of the screen, you will find receive by email. Simply click on setup. It will take it to your bill workflow settings. And here right on top of the screen, you can select what should be your capture via email address. In my case, I have finance 0123, and you can decide which default status should be used, if it should be applied to draft, or it should be automatically sent for review and for approval. So now you can just copy the email address, provide that to your supplier. They will be sending those invoices to that mailbox. Within 10-20 seconds, the data will be captured, extracted, and you will receive notifications so you can take a look on the things under captured by me screen. Here, as we can see, this bill from mobile app already shown to me. So 100% use that.
Thanks, Alex. Some of our participants would like to know, is ApprovalMax Capture available for QBO?
Not at the moment. We're actually working hard because very, very soon, in about 3 weeks from now, we'll be in Intuit Connect in Las Vegas once again. It seems like already a second home for me. And our plan is to present ApprovalMax Capture for QBO during that event. So it is a work in progress. Very, very soon, well, most probably next time we'll meet, our product update webinar, we'll be able to show you the way it works for QBO. So stay in touch. It's coming.
Thanks, Alex. And just before we end tonight's webinar, we have another poll for our audience. So if we can
Correct.
bring that up, I will launch the poll.
It's a bit of a weird poll because those are quite new features, but still will be interesting to see if maybe if you tried already review step or something else.
So the review step actually came in at 37% and nothing for request version history. So maybe our audience have learned something that we've just released. We haven't seen it before.
Yep, yeah, that's amazing. So hopefully we will next time we'll see those features will be used as well.
Yes, exactly. Editing on approval has come in very strong at 58%. We've got accrual reports, capture at 26%, and pushing comments at 47%. And then some of the other ones are either 0 or 5. I'll stop sharing. Well, thank you everybody for joining us today. Everybody that registered will receive a copy of the recording by the end of this week. We hope that these updates will save you time and money while improving your processes. Thank you again, and we look forward to seeing you at these updates, and we hope that they benefit your business.
Yep. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dee. Thank you everyone who've been here today at the webinar, and I hope to see you next time.